week, our panel took aim at pit bulls after an attack on a 4-year-old boy. Our social media pages went into meltdown with people accusing us of misinformation and not having all the facts. Now, here at Studio 10, we believe in giving people the right of reply. So in a moment, we'll hear from those who say we have it wrong. But first, here's some background information on how this topic came to light in the first place.
It's the news that strikes fear into every parent.
2-year-old Dian Satori, a young boy full of life and killed in the cruelest way.
To many Australians, pit bulls are seen as an angry breed of dog, ready to attack at a moment's notice. In fact, there have been calls to destroy them.
Who in the hell would breed dogs to be trained to do something like that?
And when the issue came up on our show last Friday, our panel left no doubt which side of the fence they were on.
For a start, what are people doing having pit bulls to begin with? I mean, they're not pets, they're fighting dogs.
And that triggered an angry response from pit bull owners. According to them, we've got it wrong. It's not the breed of dog that's the problem, it's a small percentage of owners.
Do you have anything you'd like to say to the man who was attacked at all?
Some also accuse the media of only reporting on pit bull attacks and ignoring other breeds. So, has the pit bull been unfairly targeted? Today, we'll find out.
Wow. Now, as we mentioned, some of you are very, very angry. You took to our social media pages to give us your opinion. We love that. Here's a sample of some of the comments we received. I am a proud and responsible pit bull owner, and it upsets me how your ignorance toward the breed is being spread on such an open format, sending out the idea that all pit bulls are evil. People are the problem. Irresponsible breeding and cruelty are at the core of the ongoing discussion and maligning of this breed. And we have this one as well. How dare you say that pit bulls are not pets? They are beautiful and loving dogs who unfortunately have been subjected to this hideous witch hunt that is breed-specific legislation and sensationalistic journalism. In light of that feedback, we've invited owners and experts from around the country to talk about this issue. There they are there. Hi, guys. Hi. They've brought their puppies in as well. Well, last week we were inundated with criticisms over our discussion on pit bulls. Jess, we were saying that you thought they were fighting dogs. I'm a bit frightened of them as well.
Turns
Joe.
out they were fighting words.
Look, plenty of viewers took exception to our comments. So today we've put together a bit of a panel of experts to talk us through it all. Joining us today we have Dr. Andrew O'Shea, who is the president of the behaviour group for the Australian Veterinary Association. Hello. We have Brad Griggs, a canine behaviourist. We also have Melanie Isaacs, Director of Rescue Service Team Dog. We also have John Brotherhood, who is from Ambulance New South Wales, and Darren Eldred, who is the Director of Team Dog and Fetching Dogs Incorporated. Now, we're going to hear from this incredible panel in a moment, but first let's look at some of the stats.
5 breeds of dogs are banned in Australia. They include the pit bull, Argentine dogo or mastiff, Brazilian fighting dog, Japanese tosa, and Perro de Presa Canario. There are around 5,000 reported dog attacks in Australia each year. They range from minor bites to death. In 2011, half of all attacks were by just 5 breeds of dogs: Bull Terrier, Australian Cattle Dog, German Shepherd, American Staffordshire Terrier and Rottweiler. Children under 15 remain the most vulnerable to dog attack, with 4 killed nationally in the past 5 years. The number of attacks by dangerous or restricted breeds is decreasing, suggesting that the laws are working. But the Australian Veterinary Association says we should ban the deed, not the breed, arguing a breed-specific approach to legislation is not the answer. So what is?
All right, let's start our chat with Dr. Andrew O'Shea. Doctor, why do you think pit bulls have such a bad public perception?
There's a lot of personal likes and dislikes, and many people only come in contact with individual breeds occasionally. the most common report on television is the child was attacked by a pit bull or whatever. And when you actually go into the evidence behind it, it's not necessarily a pit bull terrier. So the media has put across a strong image that these are very dangerous dogs. The evidence behind it is they're most probably no more dangerous than any other dog of a similar size. If they've got 4 legs, a tail and teeth, they can bite.
But Dr. I'm confused though, because the media are reporting what we're being told, say, by the police and other people who are there at the scene. And I think there is, as you say, a bit of confusion over, are we talking about pit bulls? Are they crossed with Staffordshire Terriers? I mean, I must say, sitting here in the studio, I'm very nervous. I mean, of the dogs. I feel frightened, and that's probably an unfair thing to say, but it makes me nervous.
I have reassured her that Coco and Marvel are perfectly safe, but she won't take my word for it.
Jess actually copped quite a bit of flack for saying that these are fighting dogs, but you're absolutely right. From the research I was doing on the internet, that was centuries ago. That's what they were bred for. Am I right in saying
yes,
that?
and you see that's part of the problem that we have with the perception of what the breed is. And what is a pit bull terrier? It actually varies from what jurisdiction you're in. If you're in America, they have a purebred called the pit bull terrier. And of course, the problem with it is any dog that vaguely looks like one of these dogs, they're classified as a pit bull terrier. So even though these guys may be a crossbred boxer, Staffordshire Bull Terrier or whatever, people see them and automatically go, well, that's a pit bull terrier. So because they're a bigger dog and they tend to be reactive and so forth, they often get a really bad name.
And I think it's that jaw.
A big reactive dog sounds quite scary to me, though. I mean, why is it? What I don't understand is why people are so passionate about pit bulls in particular. Like, why? Surely, if the restrictions at the moment seem to be working and the number of attacks is going down, and surely if there is some evidence, I mean, for example, you'd be familiar, Dr. Hugh Worth, the Victorian head of the RSPCA in 2009, said that there was absolutely no place for these dogs in Australia. He said they were time bombs. He said they should be banned. Now, everyone here, I'm sure, who has any knowledge of animal welfare issues knows who Hugh Worth is. He's a very respected veterinarian. The RSPCA is an organisation that is there to prevent the cruelty to animals and protect them. If he is saying it, surely not getting your personal favourite breed of dog is a small price to pay for knowing that kids could be safer.
Let's hear from Melanie. What do you think about that, Melanie?
The reality is, I know you mentioned about the laws appear to be working and, you know, the promo said that attacks by the reported breeds have gone down, which I'm sure is the case. But the question I'd ask is, have attacks gone down? Because if overall attacks haven't gone down, which they haven't, they're continuing to rise, do we care if the bite is by a pit bull, or do we care that a dog has bitten someone and how to stop that happening?
Well, I think the pit bull attacks tend to be more dangerous. Yes. We've had stories of a fully grown man just last year, right? Never mind the kids, right? Never mind there's a 2-year-old in America, I think it was last year, whose mother is now calling for it was her own family dog that attacked and killed her 2-year-old child. She is now saying she was wrong. We had just last year in Sydney, a jogger was attacked by 3 pit bull terriers, and when a neighbour came to his aid...
Yeah, let's have a quick look at that, actually. It's definitely worth watching.
Oh, bandaged and bruised, but alive.
He's got a big gash where he's been torn open on the side of his chest, and his chest wall has puncture wounds in it that are just centimetres from his heart.
Torn apart by these dogs, Rob Nelson was jogging home when 3 American Staffordshire Terriers surrounded him and attacked. The animals have now been destroyed.
They were vicious, they were savage, and they should not be allowed in a suburban area.
Rob faces months of plastic surgery, but he's smiling for now because he survived.
We wouldn't have a son and a brother, I don't think, if they didn't come to his aid.
It's quite scary at the time. I think that witnesses said that they could see Rob's heart beating through his chest because so much damage had been done. I want to bring you, John, in from Ambulance New South Wales, because you're on the front line and you see the sort of damage that dog attacks can do.
Yeah, quite regularly. Unfortunately, we receive a lot of calls for dog attacks, and we only get to see the aftermath of what's happened. Quite a few times we've turned up and the dogs are still attacking. In the case of Robbie's attack there, he'd suffered some horrific injuries. They pulled the flesh off his arms and his chest. There was a great big wound under his arm where it had gone down to his chest wall. You couldn't actually see his heart, but it was only about 2 or 3 centimetres away from it, so it could have inflicted some fatal injuries. Hello.
So you're not hearing about Labradors or Maltese Terriers or toy poodles causing this sort of damage?
I've been to a lot of attacks that have involved different types of dogs. My understanding of dogs, I really can't tell the breeds apart. They're a dog, they've got 4 legs, a tail and teeth, and the bigger the dog, the bigger the bite. But it doesn't matter what size the dog it is. If it's going to bite, it's going to bite. And we've had them from someone walking up saying, here, have a look at my pet, and it bites somebody's face. It does a nip. And some dogs will nip, some dogs will bite, and some dogs will attack. And in my experience, all dogs will bite. Doesn't matter which type of breed it is.
Brad, is it to do with the owner of the dog? I mean, we know that everyone knows dogs, right? Now, it's how you train the dog, surely.
It's not... I'm not a trainer of dogs, so I go out and see them at the end of it. We have 2 dogs of our own at home, and we train them, and according to Andrew at the back there, probably not very well by the sound of it. But I live with my dogs, and we have some ground rules as well. If the dogs turn on the children, the dog goes. I don't leave my kids alone with the dogs. But that's just normal parenting and that. But as far as the experts goes and the dogs, I wouldn't know what breed these are apart from it's brown, got 4 legs, tail and teeth. That's basically it.
Yeah. All right, we have to take a very quick break, but we'll have more of this discussion in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere. Before the break, we talked about the issue of aggression within specific breeds such as the pit bull. Darren, we might bring you in. You are co-founder of Team Dogs and Fetching Dogs Shelter, and Marvel, the dog you've brought in today, was almost destroyed.
Yep. He spent 4 to 5 weeks in the pound because someone thought he was a pit bull or had pit bull DNA. So that meant he couldn't be released immediately, unlike every other dog.
So what type of dog then is he?
He is a really friendly 7-month-old mixed breed dog.
With what though? Like,
no idea. I couldn't tell you.
And how would you describe his nature?
He is pretty placid. I mean, whole new environment, and he's pretty much conked out. But he is really good. I've got small dogs at home. He's great with them. He's a little bit rude. He hasn't got much manners, but that's what we would expect from a young dog anyway.
Okay. Let's bring Brad in. Brad, you sort of can talk us through how the behaviour works. I mean, are pit bulls aggressive dogs?
You can't have punch without duty. So realistically, we're having a conversation about a certain breed of dogs. The context in which we're having it is about preventing dog bites in the community. So what I would say to you guys, and addressing the panel, you are all vehemently against a certain breed. If you can get on board with what I'm saying, in that you are against it because you want your community to be safer, right? I would then ask you, are you attached to how that happens, or are you attached to actually seeing better outcomes relating to community safety and community dog bite prevention? At this point, I'm seeing all the heads nod, except for Joe staring at me. And, if I can just finish, Joe.
Yeah, of course.
So we know from around the world, in cultures similar to ours, right, we can look around and we can see elements of commonality that are used to reduce dog bite statistics to as low as possible. You'll never get rid of 400 breeds. Right? It doesn't really matter. You'll still have crossbreeds, this, that, the other. It doesn't matter, right? Across the world, the cultures that are doing it successfully are doing so based on the behaviour of the individual dog and not based on breed. Indeed, we know that breed is actually a very poor predictor of genetics. I'm heavily involved with the development of law enforcement type dogs, for example, right? I would typically speaking, overlook dogs such as these if I was walking into a pound looking for prospects, because look at them. They're just they're typical of the majority of pet dogs in Australia. Super relaxed, super chilled out.
When we were talking about this last week, a 4-year-old boy had been terribly attacked and mauled.
Certainly.
And there was a question mark over the fate of the dog who did that. And I must say, as a mother, I would want that dog destroyed. I wouldn't want to be standing up saying, let's protect this dog, because he's just severely injured this child, potentially could have killed this child. So to me, isn't that more of the issue?
Well, let me ask you, okay? So that child has been mauled. There is a tragic convergence of errors that has seen that be the case. Now, reports on this vary. So we've got a chain was involved, and we know that a tethered dog of any breed is far more likely to be involved in a biting incident. We know that there was a babysitter, not the owner of the dog, involved. Right? We know that the dog was over X amount of kilos, which obviously the larger the dog, the more likely it is that there's going to be more damage done. The child was not adequately supervised, and
can we just get one thing straight though? Does anyone here in this in the group on the panel think that a dog of whatever breed, including pit bull, who attacks a child should not be destroyed?
I'm going to cover that in what I'm saying, Joe. There's no room in society.
Do you think that a dog that attacks a human
should be allowed to live? There's no room in society for a dangerous dog. The description of dangerous is based upon the behaviour of the individual.
But why is there? The media, we're not just sitting here making this up. There is actually a real perception out in the community that these dogs are dangerous.
Perception
where does that come from?
No, it's not the perception. No, I have the reason I was looking down before. This is according to the New South Wales Department of Local Government. The Pit Bull Terrier is the single most dangerous breed of dogs. It has 2.7 rate of attack per 100 registered dogs. That is far and away above all other dogs. And they've got everything here right down to Pomeranians.
Those statistics don't make it to court. It's because the way that those statistics are
official
gathered,
government statistics.
They don't make it into court because the way the statistics are gathered negates their ability to be used. That's why they don't make it into court. I'm the leading provider of animal management dog bite prevention training in my state, in Victoria.
So can we just have a show of hands?
So I can tell you the reason that I'm successful is because I preach a behaviour-based strategy. That's why I am successful. No one across the world, there is no conjecture, and Andrew will concur with this, there is no conjecture about what creates situations where dog bites occur. And I can tell you right now that in all areas of the world where they've tried a breed-specific approach, all of those approaches have failed to keep the community safe. In fact, all peer-reviewed scientific literature published, all, either refutes in whole or in part the elements of breed-specific legislation, right? And in many countries around the world, inclling the Netherlands, Germany, America,
just very quickly, we were talking about whether a dog who'd attacked a toddler should be destroyed. Does anyone think that an individual dog who attacks a child or a human should be allowed to live?
It is contextual,
yes
Joe.
Or no?
We've had dogs that have attacked a child because they had a sparkler stuck up the dog's nose.
Yeah.
So in that situation, you might be able to control otherwise.
Individually.
And we need to protect our kids. And those dogs that are truly dangerous really shouldn't be with us.
Look, I think we talk about this all day. We're just passing on, getting the wind up. Thank you for all coming in. Your insight's been fantastic. We really appreciate it. You can always hit us up on our Facebook page or send us an email if you have any issues with the show or would like your voice heard. We read everything.